to that might be detrimental to their mental health. So it's entirely an individual, it's an individual's choice as to what you do with your child in regards to that. I did watch the video. There are several things I would say that maybe it creates questions about versus answering questions to. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I don't do a lot of public speaking. One of them being the hormone injections that were shown repeatedly in the video. Coming from a strength conditioning background and anatomy and physiology background, it should definitely be touched upon that long periods of time doing that have detrimental health effects, such as kidney failure, liver failure, and things of that nature. And I'm not talking on a political or religious bias, I'm just talking clearly from like a health standpoint. When you're making those decisions, those need to be taken seriously as to the long-term health effects. I know that if it's important enough to be being talked about in health and physical education, that you got to dedicate some time to it. But with that, you need to also talk about the adverse effects of some of those things, which I don't think are ever shed light on. Hold on, I have my notes I gotta get back to it, I apologize. The other side is, it is inclusive of everyone to learn about those things, but at the same time, you know, how much time is spent on something like that should be dictated more on what the wants and needs of the individuals in the classroom are. And I know as educators, that's what you're serving. You're serving the individual student, not necessarily the class as a whole. I'm sorry, I'm pulling back from my notes. And then the other thing I had to do is, you know, the time spent talking about the LGBT community is important. I'm not saying that it by any means should be put on the back burner, but I also think the amount of time spent on reproductive health should be equally or more, considering that it is inclusive of everyone, regardless of, you know, sex, gender, etc. And that's it. I just wanted to be heard. That's what I came today.
Thank you. Just one more clarification. The video that you saw, sir, was not the video that the kids saw at school. They may have seen it at home with their parents. We did not show the part about the injections or the hormones.
I know, but if it does come up in
yes.
class, it will talk.
Oh yes, of course. We talk about steroid use in health all the time. Yeah, I mean, that would be something that the teachers would handle. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Karen Potesniak. I have 2 boys in the school system, 7th and 9th grade. I come from a family that on both sides, there are gay and lesbian family members. I love them dearly and support them in their decisions. I knew they were that way since they were young children. But that being said, when you're a child, girl or boy, there are so many challenges and changes. It's absolutely ridiculous and against God's will to teach children or anyone that if you don't like who you are, you can become a different person or sex. This does not help the mental health problem where it stems from. I don't know who allowed this thought to try to become mainstream, but it's really absurd and extremely unhealthy. These kids have not even gone through puberty or even fully understand the body they were born into, let alone trying to change it before it happens. Hormones and hormone blockers have detrimental effects. Cancers and serious health risks will arise. This hidden agenda was put in by Governor Murphy and includes teaching kids about sex and LGBTQ. He is starting this in the 3rd grade, and it's getting more and more explicit as the years go by. Our school has the choice on how far they want to push it. This isn't a college elective, this is a middle school with delicate minds. I was completely appalled by what happened in the school. My son was shown a sneak peek of the transgender video in social studies, and the following day an email came out explaining they would have this presentation the next week. I couldn't believe they had even showed my son a portion of the video without my consent. There are topics that I feel need to be left for families to decide how they want to handle them in their homes. I don't send my son to a public school in our town so they can corrupt his mind and our family beliefs and structure. In the least, I would be accepting if the school needed to form an LGBTQ club and would leave my children completely out of all the information involved there. I feel like certain kids will benefit from it, but it is a very tiny group of people. Please, let's not make a few kids' uncertainties about themselves affect the entire mainstreamed education system. Thank you.
Hi, I know most of you. I'm Joe Merrigan. You asked Jean for feedback for the administrators, and so that's why I'm not really strong-minded on either way, but I can tell you that I didn't think that topic for this SOAR program should have been in place over going back to learning loss. There was so much learning loss in these last 2 years that I don't even feel like the SOAR program should be active at this moment. These kids should be climbing back up a ladder and getting back to the basics. There was an assessment at the beginning of the school year, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of it. Does anybody remember? My kids bombed, all 3 of them. And anybody I speak to, so did theirs. I want my kids back to where they need to be. Math, writing, reading, the whole shebang. I appreciate all of you. I can't even imagine being in your shoes. You want to talk about empathy? This is teacher's empathy. I think about you every day. I'm like, I don't know how this lady did it. Honest to God, thank you. I don't know how you did it these last 4 years. But that's my 2 cents, if it means anything. Okay? Thank you very much.
Cindy Frank with the Attention East Chart. First, I want to thank you for, of course, the mask removals and all the shield removals and a lot of things have been kind of feeling better at school. So that's a big plus. So in Kinnelon, we were told that we are teaching social emotional learning. We were told we would not be teaching critical race theory. Recently, a parent who knows that I'm not afraid to come up and speak at these meetings approached me with a concern. She wants me to discuss the unit that her 8th grader had been presented at PRM Middle School in the language arts class. She sent me the assignment from the teacher and the child's notes, which greatly upset her. The teacher's assignment started out, class, we have been talking about some very heavy topics. While talking about prejudices, race, identity, and gentrification, you may have had questions or opinions that you were thinking about. Below, please reflect on the last 2 weeks of education from our class. Her child's notes from the language art class were very neat and clear, and she said the following. Title, Privileges, Class Discussion. Do these people get to enjoy privilege like comfort in their own skin, comfort with their hair, comfort with the way they speak, or shared ideas? Black people don't always enjoy the way they live. Black people get called racial slurs by white people. Black people have a hard time in school. They get made fun of for being dumb or extra. Some don't feel comfortable with the way they look or act. Black people are not happy because they compare themselves to white people. 15 of 21 kids picked a white doll because the white people are better than black people. Some black people feel they are not treated as fair as white people. So, parents in Kinnelon should be aware of what their children are being taught. Are the Board of Education members on board with what these teachers are rolling out to our students? To me, it sounds like this encourages a preconceived thought and bias based on skin color. This mother said to me, "It's awful. Kids are colorblind. They're being taught to see each other as different." She feels very uncomfortable speaking publicly in order to protect her child. This is why I'm speaking on her behalf. Okay. And I have something else. I don't know if I have time, but it's a different topic, but it's kind of important. Okay. I don't know if there's any small children in the audience. I apologize if there are. But when did it become okay to discuss literally the ins and outs of anal sex with our kids? When did it become the school's job to instruct our kids on how to masturbate? When did it become your job to teach them how to give hand jobs? I'm sorry, everybody. But maybe a course on blowjobs. Oh wait, that is included in the oral sex agenda of what is coming in September, just so everybody knows. Abortion is also presented as a pregnancy alternative.
Cynthia,
Yeah, I know it's 45 seconds.
it's
But
3 minutes.
I know but if we can't discuss it here, honestly, how are our children going to handle this? 6th graders, do I need my 2 sons coming home? My 6th grader already told me the ins and outs of what an erection is because he was already taught last year. Fine. But now they're going to talk about oral sex? Now they're going to talk about anal sex? Listen, everyone can do what they want to do. Everyone's got their own lifestyle, and that's totally fine. But it should not be being forced on our kids in the 6th graders.
Disgusting.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak. My name is Dana Leonard. Life for kids has become very complicated recently in many ways. But in my heart, I believe that it doesn't have to be this way. For those who attempt to live by the golden rule, the expectations are simple. Treat others the way you'd want to be treated. There are no subcategories, no exclusions, no fine print. The beauty is in its simplicity. And children in particular can comprehend this easily. Those raised in Christian and other faith-based homes believe that we are all God's children, that every person is a gift, has dignity, and should be respected. This simple message of respect, however, is being replaced with complicated and controversial standards from the New Jersey Department of Education and lessons taught by the Kinnelon School District. We all know about the transgender lesson and discussion that took place in social studies at the middle school that Mrs. DiGiuseppe referred to, which caught parents and children by surprise. But after this, what came to be realized by parents was the additional SOAR program, where a case from an attorney who represented a gay man who was bullied and tragically committed suicide was also presented at the middle school. And these are heavy topics for adults, never mind children as young as 11. Parents are not being notified on specifics in advance in order to prepare their children, to follow up with them, or to opt out. What also troubles me has been discussed, and the graphic nature of the New Jersey sex ed standards to be rolled out next year, developed in conjunction with Planned Parenthood and the LGBT community. Children as young as 5 years old in kindergarten will be introduced to sex ed. 5th graders as young as 10 will be taught gender identity, sexual orientation, sexual development, including masturbation. In 7th and 8th grade, they'll define oral, anal, and vaginal sex. They'll discuss parenting options, including abortion. I respectfully am asking the board members to become proactive and use their authority to calculate the costs of approving the state curriculum as written. Mrs. DiGiuseppe has communicated that she is compelled to follow it. However, the state education commissioner said local school boards can choose what curriculum to use. I also request the board to ensure that parents have access to all sex ed and health teaching materials. There should be a formal process in place for this, and it will protect everyone. Parents in Enfield, Connecticut were shocked when their middle schoolers received an assignment called Pizza and Consent. It read, "Now that you know that pizza is a metaphor for sex, let's explore your preferences. Draw your color and favorite style of pizza. Mirror these preferences in relation to sex. Toppings were coded for sex acts. It's unimaginable also to me that a school system could proceed in undermining many religious faiths by permitting abortion in curriculum for our 13 and 14-year-old children. This is another order that came from the state to impose on our children. The New Jersey Department of Education intends to give Planned Parenthood access to our children through you. You are the gatekeepers. As the saying goes, to whom much is given, much is required. Multiple people involved in the school system have referenced and justified these programs and the new curriculum, saying that, well, the kids see it on TikTok and YouTube anyway. And I never thought that I would have to say this, but that is not my expectation when I send my children to school, that lessons on TikTok would be talked about or reinforced. This is all very uncomfortable for me, just so I'm clear. I was raised right here in New Jersey, and I was taught to be private about all of these things, but my hope is now to start a very uncomfortable conversation in order to gain clarity and transparency. And I'd like to formally request